How you doing? Hey, how you doing? I see you. Oh, good. Can you get in?
Así que vamos a ver esta cosa, pero bueno, algo es algo. Ay, ¿no te vas a sentar aquí? ¿Tú me dejaste la silla para... ¿Tú me dejaste la silla para mí? Oh.
Yeah, he's a lawyer. He's a neighbor. He's getting a voice from him.
That's going to wait us 2 seconds.
Before we get started, can I ask any non-owners to identify themselves? Non-owners? Do you have a power of attorney here?
No, I'm not here for representing.
Okay. We're keeping tonight's meeting to owners only, so if you're not an owner, we're going to ask you to leave. If you have a power of attorney, you can bring it to me.
I'm an attorney who represents 30 clients, or 30 unit owners.
You got your power of attorney?
No, I'm an attorney. I don't have a power of attorney.
Who do you represent?
I have a list.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, please? Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Excuse me, sir. Here, we have a question here.
Michelle?
Sir, can you? Yeah.
My question is, the notice of meeting didn't say anything about keeping it to owners. Are you just inventing that tonight?
Yeah, where are you from?
What do you mean?
I understood it was open to the public. And
It was an open meeting, it was an open meeting and discussion. We have an attorney, and the attorney is
That's
here,
fine.
and we are relying
I'm
on
asking
that.
her for the list. Now who she
Well,
represents.
it's open to the
Well,
public.
I mean,
sir.
we're not.
Open for public.
Okay, you're saying that you're asking the attorneys to leave?
No, I'm not asking anyone to
So you want to see like the 29 retainer agreements? I'm not gonna do that.
ask for a retainer agreement. I'm just asking who you're
Well,
representing.
I'm here to observe. That's all.
She's representing all of us. Well,
all the people
This group right here,
representing
plus I love
foreign
the
national and absentee owner was not warned properly in order to provide this kind of document. At that point, we have to postpone accordingly, or we have to accept the represented in order the building to be represented properly by the numbers of unit existing. So at that point, we have to postpone this meeting.
Did everyone get a chance to sign the sign-in sheet if they want to speak today?
Let's see.
no, where is
Is
it?
nobody gonna leave
Where
or
is it?
no,
Where is
no,
the
no
sign-in
meeting
sheet?
gonna
Who's
happen?
organizing this?
Simple as
It's
that.
back there. It's being passed around.
I have a sign sheet.
Simple as that. Very simple.
Yeah, if you're looking to speak tonight, we're passing around a sign-in sheet. You can sign it. That way we get to know who's gonna, we're just gonna go in order off of that sign-in sheet.
They're smaller here? There's a lot of smaller here.
And first floor, second floor, third floor, the floor. Very
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could just do me a favor and move to the back of the room as we don't block the exits in case of a fire. So can we just like move back so we don't
Okay,
block the
just make
exits?
sure they speak loud enough so we can all listen.
They will, but in case of a fire, I wanna make sure everybody gets out and they can't all be blocking
There's
the
another
exits.
door there, another exit that works here.
Right, yeah, so there's one exit there and one
Yeah,
exit there. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
a storage unit, parking unit.
Mira, prende mais. Tú vienes con todos los hierros, ¿eh?
Y se ponen a jugar aquí, yo tengo aquí tengo ahí para tomar video SEO.
All right, we're gonna commence the meeting. We're gonna read off of the notice of meeting that was posted. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the bylaws of the association and Florida's Condominium Act that the Board of Administration of Bayshore Yacht and Tennis Club Association will consider the agenda items listed below. The Condominium Association today, March 28th, 5 p.m. And the call to order by the president. Mike.
Yeah, call to order.
All right, proof of notice, waiver of notice. We have the minutes.
Excuse me, we have, can we talk, please?
Sorry.
We have
Oye, María,
questions
¿no
about
baja?
the proof of notice.
Okay, so
There's a sign.
Ni Tania tampoco.
Well,
What
so
is
then
it?
you
What
need
is
to
it?
wait.
We haven't get that, you know, it's just
You
everything.
need to
is
wait
just-
till everybody signs,
Yeah,
so we can
because-
speak correctly.
Okay.
We wanna talk 3
We'll
minutes,
wait,
okay?
we'll wait till you guys have signed the sign-in sheet, and then we'll.
Thank you so much.
Is that the one that you sent here with no pen? Is that your sign-in sheet?
No, that's mine, that's mine. But it can do it for whatever.
here's a pen.
I don't mind using that.
Anybody else need to sign in?
Maria?
Yeah, we all need to sign in.
Okay, I'll be right there. I'll be
So
right there.
pass it please in order, so everybody has the chance to sign.
We've been passing it around.
Thank you so much.
Did you sign in this?
No.
Thank you very much.
El cartón que trajeron se limpian en la
We're
mano.
missing units here.
That's not like all units here.
Yeah, that's not all the units. We're missing units. You're stopping 402.
Does everybody have a sheet that they're passing down? This is the person that is collecting the signs, so whoever wants to sign, look at them.
But I'm not aware what.
Right there.
We're missing units here. Stop in 402.
Esta es la próxima.
Tania, Tania. Lo siento a ella.
I have half of the units.
No está en la mitad.
Somebody needs to bring that up. We can do a live very brief. Two or three things. These are all very important points. They should be on the record.
Tania.
There was a guy that walked on water once. I guess we're gonna go away
So they're billing for this. They're billing for the full amount. But it's, what is the date on this? Oh, so recent.
Milagro María, no María. María, milagro.
Está loquito para abajo. Está loquito para abajo.
I already saw it. I already saw it. I have it. I saw
La abogada ella va a meter una pila de objections y después a ver qué es lo que pasa. Han hecho una pila de errores en la definición de este meeting, o no sé si lo van a poder hacer. La abogada empezó con la primera cagada que nada más que dueño en este meeting.
¿Qué dijo? ¿Quién dijo eso?
La abogada dijo eso, que nada más que dueño puede estar en este meeting.
¿La abogada?
Sí, el abogado ahí de...
Ah, de ellos.
Sí, este.
Ah, del abogado de ellos.
Y aquí dijeron, me vaya para el carajo con eso. Y la policía se metió en el medio que nadie puede cubrir la puerta, ¿sabes cómo es esto? Asustar a la gente. Aquí la gente ya, eso es que la gente no se asusta más.
She knows we have this, she doesn't show up.
Qué mafioso.
Nice to meet you. Rosanna. Up north, I work in West. So I don't come out to these, this is like an example section. If you don't.
¿Dónde salió aquello? ¿Dónde salió aquello que está en el valor?
It's a shame.
En vez de todo esto, que se está moviendo para afuera. En medio de todo esto, han estado haciendo los movimientos.
Moviendo, mudándose.
No, es una niña ahí del piso de nosotros. Estamos viendo el match y todo el equipo ahí al mismo momento que estamos haciendo. Como siempre, siempre tiene algo ahí para joder los medios. ¿De qué? No, ¿qué? Pásame una copia.
Yeah, I bought here two currently.
Esto es el summary art. Sí, estos son los números locos. Para asustar a todo el mundo. Están fumando crack esta gente. Siempre tiene que llevarse de mira, era médico. Yo creía que era 44. Nada más que son 42,000. No quieren cobrar para el generador otra vez. 300,000 pesos para el generador. $1.8 millones para meter su terraza nueva. Y ahora aquí no quiere solo lo del préstamo.
¿Qué cosas son las fire doors? Fire door.
Esas son las puertas de candela de lo de... ¿Cómo es? No sé, ahí no han cambiado eso, que usted. Usted quiere cambiar las puertas también.
You are. Yeah.
Oh, so this would be per month?
Nunca he visto tanto cero en mi vida.
¿Eh?
Nunca he visto tanto cero en mi vida.
All right, we're going to call the meeting to order.
Acabamos de terminar el acceso.
Okay, did everyone get a chance to sign in? Does everyone have the schedule of payment? Yes? Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. We're going to waive the reading of the minutes, Michael?
Yeah, doesn't be waiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to discussion of the proposal for the special assessment.
Yeah.
Let's.
Es que I've got a crappy little stand that can move.
Anyone else wants copies? Steve. All right. Did everyone here get a copy of what's included in the special assessment proposal?
Yeah, you're recharging us for the generator.
You guys know what's going to be approved, prepared,
You mean
included.
the
We got
detail-
a
the
summary.
detail
Hold on,
discussion,
that's
the
why we
detail?
have the sign-in sheet. All right, we're gonna get to everyone, okay?
No, I didn't get it.
Before the
Sign-in sheet?
discussion?
No.
Let's talk about the notice of meeting.
Hold on,
As it should be.
hold on. All right,
Sorry, sir, who are you?
Esther, my name is Vishal Patel.
Okay, what do you do?
I'm an association attorney.
Okay.
I'm here with Michael, Donnie, you know, Kevin Spivak, Mark Feldman. We're gonna start with Astro Tools Rental.
Yep.
Please.
You wanna say
If you have 2 minutes.
Later on. I got to say something later.
Okay, so again, we take Ås Nestor, this is Astro Tool, and we have David. Okay, David Olsen. That's done for 308. You wanna speak?
No, I said no on the sheet,
Oh,
Says no.
oh, it's just no there.
for people that want
Oh, there's the one for this.
It says no.
Do you want to speak? Oh, okay, here we go.
Would
Yeah,
you like
there we
to
go.
give your
Nancy-
opportunity to somebody to speak
No,
on
first
for
is
you?
Miranda first. Oh, no, yeah, okay, so this, here.
Excuse me?
Monica Franco?
Excuse me? Would you like, sir, to give your opportunity to another unit owner to speak?
Yes.
Okay, you could go ahead and give the opportunity. Is anybody ready to speak? Because the
Monica
gentleman.
Franco.
I am representing Monica Franco.
I am Maria Garcia.
Everybody will be given a chance.
No, I understand, sir, but he said.
There's no buts, we're gonna go down.
No, but he said he doesn't want to speak. He said
Oh,
he
that's
no,
why I
he doesn't
asked.
want to speak.
That's why I
No.
asked
So we have a
if
list
you
of people
want.
that want to speak.
That's
The
okay,
next one on
that's
the
why I
list
asked if you
is
want.
Monica Franco. Please go ahead.
Okay, I represent Monica Franco. One of the things, you say you represent the association? Okay, who is paying for you? The association is coming from the owners?
Yes.
So we will have to be aware that you guys are, if you don't agree with whatever he's doing, you guys are paying for him. It's very important. Second, I would like to know, because as far as I have understood, Monica doesn't know the previous assessment money, where it went to, and what is the difference between that assessment and this assessment, and why it is taking so long, and why do we have a huge 7 million plus new assessment to be paid in such a short amount of time, and what is taking so long for the previous one, and why people are not being notified on a timely manner. Because basically what I'm understanding here is that people are basically just learning about this as of yesterday, and all these owners are going crazy trying to be able to give their own opinion about what is going on. So there are many things that are not being clear, and we all want the best for the building, but basically many people, as Monica Franco, had already paid for the previous assessment totally, and we haven't seen anything from that money. So it's very important to have all these questions answered today. I don't know if anybody wants me to speak on your behalf also.
Very good, very good.
Okay,
Excellent,
thank
excellent.
you.
Excellent.
I need more information.
Yes, yes.
So, there have been a lot of requests recently.
Speak louder for me.
There have been a lot of requests recently about the funds for the 1.5 that was levied last year. We put together 2 binders that contain all of the quotes for that assessment, as well as all of the invoices for that assessment. And we have 2 fat binders inside that Stephen will bring out. We're also going to circulate that to all of you so you can see how all of those monies were spent. The funds for the 1.5 did not include several of the items that we're considering on this assessment. Some of it does overlap, but not all of it. Recently, and I think we published a letter to all of you as well about our litigation situation. And we had a town hall in November about litigation. Fortunately, we've resolved one of the massive lawsuits that's been a big encumbrance to us making any progress on the property. And that was the settlement with the Coletta estate. The Coletta estate had filed a lawsuit in 2013 that had been very adversarial, that had really sucked a lot of the sails out of the winds on a lot of our projects. Not to mention throwing the association into the parking nightmare that you've experienced in the last several years. There is a proposal that Coletta had made initially for us to resolve the lawsuit for millions of dollars is what he was seeking. We turned that down, we litigated, we finally came to an agreement in February. That agreement is really a huge stepping stone for the association. We now have access to a full lot across the street, but understand that part of the settlement agreement was for use of that lot for a guaranteed period of at least 9 months. Understand that the Coletta estate didn't want to give it to us at all. It was a 3-day mediation that was required for us to get where we got to. We secured it for 9 months, but that's just a band-aid. We need a long-term solution here. The only long-term solution is to build a parking lot on site. That presents us with another obstacle, which is the village of the North Bay Village. Recently, a lot of turnover in village administration, a new mayor. We're hopeful that we're going to get cooperation from the new mayor and his staff. We've had great conversation with them since he took over. But I just found out today that they fired their attorney and they have a new attorney. The new attorney is only there on an interim basis. And he disclosed to us that he doesn't know how long he's going to be around. And there's a lot of vacancies in the village administration, and some of the higher positions are only there on an interim basis. Naturally, what that results in is inconsistent communication with the village, our inability to secure permits, our inability to continue with construction because we have no permits, and the village's unilateral mandate to Bayshore that if you want to construct anything on this site, you have to get a bond. How much is the bond that we have to get? You have to get $1 million bond. Of course, we objected. It's an arbitrary amount. It has nothing to do to lay pavers in the driveway. We don't need $1 million bond
I'm
to do
sorry
that.
to interrupt, but I'm just
Let me
really
finish.
because it has to do with what you're saying.
Right.
The thing is that you guys had an assessment, and as far as I've understood, or either it was not explained well, but I don't know if it was for the plumbing or if it was for the parking, but you see what I mean? And people are confused.
I understand.
And it was a huge assessment. So when you explain these things to us, you have to explain to us like we're little babies, because we really don't know when we're paying. We don't know if we're paying for parking, we're paying for plumbing, and we see things being done, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we get entangled into a huge project that I don't think is being done in an organized manner. So that's, I interrupt you
Fair.
because of that, because
Fair.
I don't
also-
understand, and I don't think anything.
Why are we getting charged for the generator?
Espérate.
I know you signed up. I know you're going to speak.
$300,000, yeah, I want to
I
know.
know, I know, but that's a fair comment. I can't go through every line item for you on the 1.5, that's why we have the binders for you to just, you can look at it all and see exactly where
When are you going to
every
give us
dollar,
that?
it's ready, it's there.
And how much time are you going to give us to look at that? And
You're gonna
evaluate?
have it, you can keep it, it's gonna be yours.
We can go with it?
You can review it, you can have anyone, any
I'll-
professional you want to look at.
I'll scan them tonight and I'll deliver them to everybody in my Dropbox.
Let me finish on the litigation front, because that's what I'm here to, I'm here to explain the
Yeah, my question
litigation.
is just on process, because you're talking about giving us information that explains the $1.5 million. She asked when we're gonna see it, are we gonna be able to do anything with that information? Do you intend to have the board take a vote tonight on this assessment? Are you gonna listen to the discussion, are you gonna?
We're gonna
it's just-
hear you guys all out, then the board's gonna take a vote.
So,
Okay?
so it's
Vote for what?
possible that you will hear us out, and then the board will vote the $8 million assessment?
Yes.
So-
They will make
so-
material
so
changes without
Giving us an
75% vote.
opportunity to review the details is kind of like, it's,
Forever.
I mean, we're not gonna be able to do anything with that information, and further, our comments and questions cannot be informed by the details that are contained in that information.
It's a done deal. After you vote. Oh, please, Mr. Patel.
Only a second. You said that they are the papers. Listen,
Guys, we can either stick to this list and have it orderly, or this can get just out of hand and unproductive.
okay, but.
I'd like to be able to explain to you what we've been working on, so I'm trying to
Ya que
give you
mete la mentira.
No,
information.
Could you,
And I'd like to conclude the summary of the litigation to how we got to this point, how we
second.
arrived to this point. And if I could continue answering your question.
it's related to the binder.
So-
It's only one question. The binder, 1 second.
You're
The
gonna have an
binder,
opportunity to
the
speak.
binder have only the numbers or have the receipt, the
It has-
contract,
it-
everything, the paper that go related to the numbers, that the call
Has it
numbers.
all. Has it all.
Then we cannot review that in an hour. Nobody can review that in an hour.
Okay.
This is the old comment. Can you give us
So-
an
The Coletta settlement has given us an opportunity to find parking in the interim. We can't rely on that forever. It's possible that she might not sell. I'm talking about Nina Coletta, the daughter, and the heir to the estate. It's possible that she might not be able to sell that property immediately, within a year. You know, even if she does sell it, a developer may look at it and it take a while for them to decide what they're gonna do with the property. So we might enjoy it for more than a year, but we can't rely on that. And what we need to do is find a solution that's gonna be available at least as soon as possible after that 9 months expires. That's where we have a plan for our on-site parking, which led me into the conversation about the litigation with the village and how they mandated bond requirements, they tied up our permits, they put stop work orders on all over the property. You've probably seen them out here, and those pink or orange stop work orders. They've tied our hands. What we did yesterday is we filed a proposal for settlement on that case as well. That case has been litigated since 2015. So we resolved the Coletta litigation. We have a proposal for settlement out to the village. We plan to conclude that case in the next 2 to 3 months. We're optimistic that we can get it done. We are in a great position on that litigation, in my opinion, to succeed. Their bond requirement is arbitrary. The tying of the permits is without reason and unlawful. And once we get that freed up, we can start construction right away. Once we can start construction, we have to pay contractors. That's why the special is coming at the time it is coming. Aside from the 1.5 that was levied last year, my understanding is that there was not a special levied on this association for many years. Many years. The condo docs provide that we're supposed to be budgeting for reserves, we're supposed to be budgeting regularly to have funds available, and that's just because of all the litigation and because of all of the drama with the village. We haven't been able to secure those funds. No specials prior to last year had been levied for, I think, over a decade.
We have one for 180,000.
We had a little one, but we haven't had a major prior to last year. The building is very old. When you undertook the 1.5 special last year, in the course of making those repairs, other problems were found. I think a lot of you had seen the video that management recently sent out when they were working on the balcony, and
7 seconds is the
suddenly
video.
water.
You cannot see
into the
anything
cinder
there.
blocks.
7 seconds is the video.
We have engineers.
You can see water coming out of
I'm
it.
sorry?
We have engineer reports.
Well,
Why
we
don't
haven't
you
seen
show them to
those.
us?
You should have given it to us
Yeah,
with proper
that's
time so
all.
we can have time to
Why
see
don't you
it.
show them to us and
We don't have
how
time
many-
to
how
go
many
for an $8
estimates you
million
got?
assessment with no information.
It's getting this here.
Why do we have to review all this in a 5-minute timing? Like it's just.
This is an $8 million assessment. We need time to review these documents, and we need the proper documents to be
I
given
think that
to
the
the
lack
owners.
of transparency here, Mr. Patel, it's what it's more so. The lack of notification here, everything is rush. This $8 million, we could lose our properties here. It is very abusive from this board. I think that everybody here, look at this. And I mean, this is like a done deal. We are here like you're gonna pass it, whatever we're gonna say here. Mike was there because the old president put you there, and you put your lovely wife there, right? So everything with this is just, we never see anything. We never, the lack of, Stephen sent us Friday at 8 o'clock about those balconies. You think that a proper notice to all of us on a Friday, last Friday at 8 o'clock, that is a lack of respect for people, hardworking, middle class people here. I mean, for you to come in here, it is a big slap for all of these people here. At 5 o'clock, there's no notice, you don't know it's at 6, everything here is hidden. We
talk
never
about
get
the
anything in notice in advance here. I mean,
talk
enough
about
is
the
enough. We're gonna get to the, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. I mean, this is gonna be, because this is enough, this is
Mr.
just.
Patel, let's talk about
How
the
did
notice.
everybody make it here without notice? Because we've never had this many people.
Florida.
Because we told them.
5
We
o'clock and
contacted
6
them.
o'clock.
I've been asking Steven to send emails since last week. We had to contact all these people to come here.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, please let Mr. Patel proceed. Each be given an opportunity to speak. So let me get the facts out, and then you can explain your position, and perhaps you can convince the
Why doesn't
board
he
not to
answer the
proceed.
questions directly instead of obfuscating with a million tangents? And who are you, sir? Who are you?
Thank you.
Who are you?
My name is Mark Perlman. I'm an attorney here on behalf of the association. I was Perlman. I was not involved in the litigation with Coletta.
Yeah, but
I-
then why don't you advise Mr. Patel to answer the questions more precisely, concisely, and on point, as opposed to go off on
I was not
tangents?
involved in the litigation, I'm not involved in the city. I have looked over the paperwork, and I'm here to assist the board and to assist the windows. What I would suggest you do is
To prepare lies.
proceed in an orderly fashion. Let Mr. Patel explain what's going on, and then you can make whatever comments you want and make whatever requests for information you want. Remember, if you look at your notice of the meeting, there are two things that the board is being asked to pass tonight. The first one is the Coletta assessment for $325,000. That will generate maybe $1,500 per unit in order to settle the litigation, purchase the rights to park, and get one of the Coletta units back to the association. That is one, that's the first one. The second one is the assessment, which obviously represents a large percentage of your ownership interest in the cost of your units. So these are the two things that he's trying to explain.
We cannot hear you.
Can't hear you, sir.
What I'm suggesting is that you let Mr. Patel speak on the two issues so that you'll
People
understand
broke
what's
the phone.
happening tonight, and then you'll have an opportunity, according to the list, everybody will be given a chance to speak. So please, let him finish.
She asked a
his
question.
presentation.
This is not a summation. She asked a question.
Go ahead.
She asked a question.
Understand something. Understand that the board recognizes the magnitude of the assessment and does not want to become owners of more units. It's going to become more of a burden on the association. And it would not make the assessment viable. So we're here because we've arrived at a point where we have removed a massive obstacle that has prevented us from building on-site parking. Now that we have removed the obstacle, we are ready to move forward with the parking. The other obstacle that remains is the village, which I just got done explaining. Once we take care of that settlement, we secure our permits, we remove the bond requirement, and we can start construction again.
One quickie question. Since you asked about the, will they promise right here, right now, in front of all of us, that because of the foreclosure storm that this is going to cause, that they won't purchase any of the units under foreclosure?
It's illegal under the new law.
Is that a yes or no? Is that
It will be illegal.
So is it a yes or no?
Well, you will have the first option to buy, right? You will have the first option.
Why in 3 months? She asked that. She asked why in 3 months.
So yes, no?
We cannot purchase.
A yes or a no? That'd be a simple
Very
question.
simple.
I said it is illegal.
So
When you
no?
gave
We
notice,
will abide by the law.
when you gave notice,
Yeah, next time.
when you gave notice, we came here to listen what you have to propose. But we are not here to vote anything. We need to have proof. We need to have, and I
Yes.
assume that everyone have access to the document and approve, probably some and some not for the moment, because most of the people, they don't have enough money to pay right on the spot.
On
And
three
the
payments.
building cannot afford to have a loan and to provide for a loan for each of us for 10 years or 5 years. So there is that's why we have a lot of people that the people are in pain and their property are at risk. So we are here not to talk about this, but how to make the life less miserable to the people and to preserve their property. Here we have lower medium class people. We are not on Collins. The people, they put all their saving here and they are working hard for it. So we need to know what it is possible, how we can finance it and make it acceptable for each of us here. Some people have the money, some people they don't have the money. So they're gonna lose their property. This is the point we need to discuss before to go forward.
Very good point, and that's why they're here to listen, and that's why we're gonna go down the list and hear. Mike will go down the list.
Yeah? All right, you have the,
Speak up! We can't hear you, sir.
Stephen Trifus, turn to speak.
What is the name again?
What's the name? What's the name?
Stephen
We can't hear
Trifus, the
you.
guy right next to you.
Steve.
If you can let him know.
Steve? He was here, oh, he's coming.
Sir, you're cutting into your 2 minutes.
Yeah, come on, come on.
There's a couple important things you guys need to realize. There's a lot of people that own units in here, and I don't think any of them can afford a $50,000 assessment. So where you got this crazy idea to ram $50,000 down people's throats is ridiculous. It's probably the same crazy idea he got stealing my unit 704, which you're going to be in court real soon. If anybody doesn't want this assessment to go through, I strongly suggest seeing me before you leave. Write your name and number and email on this book right here. We've hired an attorney to fight these crooked thieves from robbing us from our money, our properties, and our homes. And we would love to hear from everybody who wants to sign this, who wants to fight them, wants to get rid of these thieves, liars, and crooks out of this building forever, because they don't even own a unit here. The unit he pretends to own is the one he stole from me, and I'm back in court with it now, and good luck. That's all I gotta say. Anybody here cares, sign this book. My 2 minutes is up.
How many units do you own?
I own
0.
5. How many do you own?
Your brother might.
What?
Your
I have
brother.
this power of attorney. I can do whatever I want. Okay, sweetie?
Because you're the
Okay,
pass the background check. or something.
Oh my God.
Okay, so we have Larry Bevard.
It's two evictions already.
Next
Larry
person.
Bevard. Larry Bevard. Larry Bevard.
Daryl, next, Daryl.
No, I think that's me.
Daryl.
Okay, Larry.
I was wondering, I got a unit
Daryl is gonna talk.
a couple of years ago, expecting for the renovation. I haven't seen much.
Everybody can hear you.
We're getting to the point, reality. Had there been any bidding on this proposal, on these major structural issues that are presented here? Any biddings with different biddings with different
Bids,
companies?
like a quotes.
Quotes are on the from binders, I don't know what it is.
Does it
right
show
now.
any company, any bidding from different companies?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes.
Where are they?
What are
They're on
they?
In the binders that is going around.
It shows the list of and the amount, but there are no biddings here.
It's there in the back. It's there in the back. You can see it.
One is about.
No, in the binder.
Binder.
Oh, it's binder.
Yeah.
But we should, Michael, we should have that.
But it's there. You can, it's coming
Because
now.
this has taken everybody by surprise. I find this a little bit amusing that we have very little information that this was gonna happen. This is a huge assessment. I don't know how people is gonna be able to pay this in 3 months. I was informed this 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And there is no supervision on how all this money is going to be dispersed. I think this needs to be a little more control over this. I live in a condominium. We had a couple of assessments over 20 years. It took like 4 years to review, to bid, to come, to have the final structures and issues done. But it went 4 years, 3 months, 2 weeks.
It's a joke.
This is really surprising.
It's a joke. Yeah.
And a lot of litigation in this condominium, contingency fees, where these contingency fees are going to go, where are they going to go? I think we need first of all, more time is needed, in my opinion. This cannot just happen overnight.
That's what they have this meeting right now.
This is
Yes,
like
we need more time.
overnight.
And we need
Happening
more
overnight.
Sir, you have about 5 more
I
seconds to
think
wrap
that
it
we
up.
need to get the US
About 5 more
attorney
seconds to
here,
wrap it up.
and we need to get the media here, and get the criminal investigation. I mean, this is like a,
All right, next speaker is Kelly Gonzalez. Kelly Gonzalez? All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I think the main thing is you're talking about the parking, right? With $8 million, okay? Even if you have them, it is impossible for you to build something in a 9-month period. It's impossible. You will not be able to have a construction like that, right? So why do you need the money in a 3 months time? Why do you need it now? Why don't you have a payment plan? Why don't you actually give a prolonged so people can actually do a decision of how they're gonna actually have, the construction, the stuff? You need to give us more detail. You know what? I even sent an email to Stephen yesterday asking him for a proxy. He said, no, you don't need because my husband was gonna come alone, and he said, no, you don't need to attend. What do you mean I don't need to attend? This is not the first unit that I have. I have units in other condominiums, and I have never heard that I cannot attend my own meeting. It's out of this world. So at the end after that, he apologized, but they can clearly say, Kelly, I don't need, you don't need to attend.
That was about the proxy, but did I not call you?
Well, clearly, I'm telling you now.
Well, that's
So
fine.
if,
But I did call you.
by the way, I just
we
bought
pay your
2 weeks
salary,
ago.
Stephen, we pay your salary, not Mike. let you read that.
I just bought 2 weeks ago, so it's not like I know all the history. But just by knowing and by just hearing everybody, but just seeing how vague your notice is, I have experience. I have 10 years. I work with condos. I'm on property management for condos as well. And this is completely out of proportion. Here, everybody, here, you need to stand up with each other because this is not correct. What they're doing is not correct.
10 more seconds.
They want to take the properties away from us.
My question is to you, why 3 months? Why 3 months?
How about an answer?
Yeah, we are discussing it, so we have.
Let's hear the answer.
Why didn't you get this out loud?
So we can hear you.
All right, so we have, so we are here for discussing, so that's what we're
I
doing.
can't hear you, sir. You need to speak
You're not
louder.
giving us any information.
Answer, what about the answer?
Give us
We are
information.
discussing.
Discussing what?
Full of shit, what's your answer?
You're saying you're discussing and you're asking us to pay $50,000.
He doesn't know, he doesn't
Hold on,
know.
everybody.
discussing.
Hold on. Listen, we need to hear what he has to say. Why 3 months?
But we're
Michael,
discussing
please
12
answer.
months. Maybe we
Why
can.
3
All right.
months?
Yeah, 12.
He's gonna respond to everything at the end, so we're gonna go on.
No,
to the
then,
end.
At all. No. No.
Give the answer now.
Everybody has to respect us. It's enough. Enough is enough.
No way.
Enough is enough. We have to respect all of us.
Can I answer the question? Can I
No
answer-
police, nobody else are going to be the lack of respect that we have to us.
Can I answer the question?
Listen.
He's going to answer.
He's going to answer.
Let Kelly finish, please.
3 months is out of, I have never heard anything like it. Nobody will be able to afford it, and believe me.
That's what you want.
Believe
Buy
me
it
now,
afterwards, we know already.
you will get sued big time for this,
Everybody knows what's going on.
because it is not legal. It is out of proportion, and believe me,
Answer the question.
if we get all together, we will actually get you walk out of this building before you know it.
In
So
handcuffs.
now, listen,
In handcuffs.
because the problem is not, maybe yes, we do have structural problems, yes, we do have all those things, but you don't need the 8 million right now. You don't need them.
Okay, can I
You
answer
need
your
them
question?
partially.
Can I answer?
Answer. Let him answer. Tell your name.
There is presently no motion before this board to make a decision. There is a proposal for 3 months.
You said a notice.
Excuse me,
with
can I
3
speak?
months.
Can I speak?
And who are you?
I've already identified myself. If you were not here at the beginning, I'll identify myself again. My name is Mark Perlman. I'm a new attorney for the association. I'm here to help the board and I'm here to help the unit owners.
We pay also to
Excuse-
you.
You're gonna pay everybody.
No, to you.
But let me.
All of you get our
let
money
me tell you
to
what
screw
the
up.
bo- Would you stop talking, please? Let me tell you what the board is going to do in response to your concerns. We've raised concerns here tonight pertaining to the timing of the assessment. The board is gonna take it into account. At the end of the meeting, after everybody speaks, a motion will be made. And the motion may not be 3 months, it might be a year, it might be some other time period. However.
You're going
the
to decide that
procedure-
now?
The procedure is,
No.
the board can make a motion, for there to be a second, and then if the board votes by majority, it passes. But before they make the motion, they're offering each and every unit owner that's here an opportunity to express their personal opinion about these issues, and they'll take that opinion into account.
We are against.
However, under Florida statute and under the Declaration of Condominium, the Board of Directors is the one that is charged with the obligation and the responsibility to pass this assessment. This
And there are
is
also
not a
recall
unit owner
provisions in
vote.
that same
This is
statute.
not a unit owner vote.
Yeah, but it's also a
However,
recall
before
provision.
they vote, they are here to listen to what you have to say. Now, you far exceeded the 2 minutes, and I would ask our sergeant at arms
Okay, last
to have the
last
next
comment.
person proceed
Last
with
comment,
their
thank
comment.
you.
Nelson
Appreciate it.
Rivera.
I'm here.
I
Kelly has one last
She's
comment,
giving me
please.
1 minute of his time.
Let's go home.
Listen, I do understand that you are gonna have him into glance, but still, there is not enough time for us to know what exactly you're gonna do, and in such a short time. what exactly you're gonna use the money for. You need to give us time to actually appreciate this and to really read about it. You're giving us 5 minutes, have 55 books full of information that, I'm sorry, but whatever professional will take weeks to actually, really sit down and analyze. So you should not be making a decision right now on this. You should be actually explaining in detail the stuff now, sending us documents in our home, and then after that, do another meeting to actually, use this moment to actually vote. Right now, we're voting
there's no
for
statutory
really,
requirement
there's
for
no,
that. All the
there's
statute
no way
requ-
to actually.
Would
But
you
it
stop
shows
talking
that.
for a
It
minute?
shows there's no
All the
good
statute
faith from the board.
requires is a 2-week notice which you receive. During that 2-week period,
That's not
each and every unit owner
We don't even have the
was
amount.
authorized to
I
come
should-
No,
into
but
the
there's
office
many owners
and look at the documents. Nobody came in.
Yeah, but there's
But you have to send it. You have to wait for us to go.
The network's
You have to
always
send
buzzing.
us
There's
the
more
information. So now it's someone
Guys, Councilman Rivera, did you want to speak?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
of
go
course.
ahead.
It's my right, it's.
2 minutes, go ahead, sir.
Well, I leave, what we're asking you, and all of you, is provide us an audit. Let us know that you are so transparent, because the problem that we have here, Mike and Jorida, I don't know your name, it is that you don't, everything that you do is like this, in the dark. You keep us, the owners, we don't know, like at Friday, everything here in this is just secret. And that's what we need to know ahead of time. Okay,
There's
2
lack
weeks
of
notice, but what we
communication.
need to know is, let us revise, let us evaluate.
Yeah.
No, and you know that. You do things, you are posted to comply with the law, but they are laws. Let us know, audit. What we wanna know is, what you did beside that fountain,
$77,000.
what you did with the balloon 1.5 that we just paid, what you're gonna do with this number that you put inflated. These numbers that you put in here, some of the things that you're putting in this million, they are repeated from the last assessment. So it's an insult to our intellect that you do that. We need to know, that's what we're asking for ahead of time. Let us know, okay, but you do things in the dark, you put the poster, this is not the way. You are there to act in our best interest. Fiduciary duty. And you are not acting in good faith. You are not acting in good faith. And that is the biggest problem that we have with you and the board. Because everything with you are not acting in our best interest. And I'm sorry, but we are going to have to recall all of you. We're going to get the last signature. You don't provide those emails. You keep it in the dark. You know that people are not here in the building, the majority of the people. So we don't have access to that. So everything with you, it is, unfortunately, very sneaky, very shady. And that is something that we are going to have to, they are media, they are lawyers. Bring it here, bring it on. But we're going to get to the bottom of this. Next.
Raul Dominguez.
Talking about shade. Your mother-in-law has a unit in Airbnb that I reported yesterday. I watched the cleaning lady.
Louder.
Or is this about the assessment?
This has all to do with our lack of trust in you people.
This is about the assessment.
Yeah, this is
The
about
lack
the
of trust
assessment.
you can use for your next posting.
Whose 2 minutes is this? I
Is
forgot
this my
to check.
2 minutes or not?
You should let him speak.
About my mother?
Whose 2 minutes is
It's
this?
about the assessment.
Let him say whatever he wants to say.
After Michael handed over that unit to her through a quick claim deed, it's been in an Airbnb, and yesterday I confronted the lady that was clean up. She told me, it's an Airbnb, she's cleaning it up. And you can watch the surveillance camera if you want to look. I reported to the city. By the time the lady came in, it was already gone. She found another couple of Airbnbs and hit them. Now, your mother-in-law, she hasn't paid maintenance in 2 years. Maintenance or special assessments. And running an Airbnb that's got great reviews. She's got a $5,000 bed in there. And I keep hearing about this, and I saw your 4 ads are still up. One by you, one by your husband, and 2 by Cece. So you've got a lovely little empire here. And on top of that, I keep hearing all this stuff about an Airbnb, a club, but the keys are right there back behind the concierge. 60 units so far and counting. You look at Airbnb, it's just listing after listing after listing. Now, you want us to cough up $8 million on your word when you can't even tell us what happened with the other $1.5 million. Now you want another $8 million. And you keep dreaming about this lovely parking lot, 5 floors. I keep seeing renderings that you want to replace all the balconies with glass, and that's why you're coming up with this nonsense about the
Clean the
cinder blocks.
drains. We won't need it, you.
We don't
Clean
trust
the
you
drains.
at this point. We don't know what the actual books are until we get a forensic audit. That's my time. You have no trust in me.
I'm sorry my mother isn't here to answer your
okay.
question.
Oh, you still got to look for
Clara?
help.
I'm sorry, that's me.
Clara?
Okay, I want to say I received the letter Wednesday last week at night. And I started speaking to many concerned owners, and most of the people did not receive the letter. A lot of people that are here today are because we called them. We How thought did you receive it? by mail. Certified mail, right? A lot of people did not
No,
receive
no,
it. It was not
No certified mail.
I stopped Thursday, Friday, and Monday by the office. I spoke with Steven and Mike, and I asked them why they have not sent this by email. Everybody should know you're passing an $8 million assessment, which is more than a third of our property values. Most people are going to be in real financial hardships here. You're supposed to be actually representing us, not yourself. And we always have lack of information. We never have updates. And this is the perfect example. You're trying to pass an $8 million assessment with a 14-day notice when most of the owners live in a foreign country. We have 37 petitions here we have signed. All these people have sent it to the 3 board members, to the management office, and to you, Patel. And you know about this, of course. All these people are requesting that we get information, detailed information about all the list of projects that you have given us in this notice. We need 3 quotes for each company, 3 engineering reports. We need everything detailed. We need a study. We need explanation. Responsible condominiums give time and give a lot of information to their owners. Do you think, Mr. Patel, as a lawyer, this is responsible as an association to propose a $8 million assessment? And look at the conditions of the building. We passed a $1.5 million assessment, and you requested also a $1.5 million loan, and we don't know where that money went to. We need a forensic audit here. People want to know what happened with the assessment and what projects did we finish. Did we finish the risers from which floor? What plumbing? We need detail, and we have specified in 30 points or 31 points everything that we want, and we want this with time. We need to evaluate it. I mean, there's a lot of people here, and there's a lot of people that are not here because most of the owners of this condominium live in foreign countries. So we need explanation about the past assessment, about the $1.5 million loan, about everything that you're trying to do with this notice of meeting.
We have over
This notice
close
of
to 20
meeting
proxies.
didn't even had a date. Didn't even had a date. Didn't even had amounts. He's saying that we need to pay, basically, I just find out I need to pay, one second. We need to pay, I need to pay $52,000 in a short period of time with 3 payments. And they're not even showing us
Hey,
why
hey,
we have not requested bank loans. I mean, this is not ethical. This is not ethical. And you know, you are really putting yourselves in trouble because now a lot of people is asking questions, and now is when we start really wanting a responsible board. We are tired. We've been in the same parking situation for 10 years. We've never had a list that said that we had a parking for many years since 2009. We've never had a list. We've been parking here, there, 2 years there. We've been in the same situation. The situation has not changed. We're in the same situation. There's no rush for this. We need a study, and we need smart people and responsible people in the board that represent the 177 units in this building. You're not representing us. here. You're not, you, the 3 board owners, you're not representing us. You're never informing us of anything.
Bravo, Lenny, bravo, bravo, bravo. Wanna say
Can I just
something?
inform the unit owners that she's absolutely
Oscar wanna
correct,
say something.
and she's entitled, and each and one of you are entitled to see all of the I've seen the request, you're entitled to see all of the documents. They will be produced for you here in the office, you'll be able to look
sir.
through them at your convenience.
Sir,
We've
okay.
been requesting these documents for a
Hey,
long period
Astro
of
gonna
time,
say something.
and there's always issues for
Starting
this.
in-
We need time.
This is the first one in the list.
Refuse to
Come on.
provide me the record.
Maria.
You'll be next, sir, go ahead.
Okay, Maria Garcia, 79.
No, you're next,
Great.
you're next. Sir, go ahead.
You're for it.
Stop, stop.
I'm
Stop.
representing
Oh, yes.
All right, so I'm just interjecting. I'm a pretty smart person. This binder that's going around right now, I mean, I've been like a student of life. Is it possible to like really review that binder that's going around? And it should be like more categorized. I mean, there's like so many invoices in there, and it's not in categories. My client has 3 units here. Right now, most of America is living on paycheck to paycheck. So a lot of the people that are here that are hardworking people, even when they have to do a little tiny extra to come up with an extra little $500, and you talking about like 33,000 average for the units. And right now they are trying to sell one, but just to, as the realtor, like dealing with this situation, I'm here because I'm also their friend, and I feel bad that they bought these 3 units because now like
Family, no friend.
Okay, so the main thing is this, like right now financially, they're already hurting, so even like to come up with another little $1,000 or $2,000, so I see a trickling effect going on right here. I see a lot of people, like right now, the people that have called me that had interest in putting offers, all of that has frozen because the word is traveling about this $7 million assessment. And then I came here in person to try to speak to someone in this office just to see if I can help them get the financials. He's an older gentleman, he doesn't fax, he doesn't email too good, so he asked me to help. So like right now when people are getting shut down, it's not fair. What I heard when I came into this meeting is that a decision is gonna be made, like a final decision is gonna be made. And I think that's why everybody here is so upset, and rightfully so. And I don't really feel the people here being represented. I see 2 sides, the condos, one group of people, and all of these people have their rights. And it's just gonna take 1 or 2 condos going into foreclosure, and it's gonna be a spiral effect. And it's just gonna get like a lot worse.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
They want to foreclose
They want to bankrupt the building. Look at the realtor of it.
All they want is the Airbnbs.
Garcia.
Maria.
Oh, thank you very much. Maria Garcia. I own 2 units in the building, 817 and 415. I have been fighting out Coletta for 20-some years. Everything I did worked. Thank God he passed away in January. Mr. Patel, you should have told the people, okay? But
share
now
your
we are
sentiment.
getting to know you. You should have told the people that the only reason you achieved mediation was because you deal with Medina, his daughter. Okay, about the bond. This bill, the project managers that Michael and Florida hired are a bunch of crooks that they have a final judgment of $12 million, and that's the father of the management company owner. Management company owner is Eric Levine, and the father is Michael Levine. And here is the judgment. Okay, Michael Levine has charges of financial fraud and conspiracy and breach of fiduciary duty for $11,978,273. Hannah Levine, Eric Levine's mother, that's how we got the morals in here, $4 million and something. And the other little guy that was doing the project in here with Eric Levine, and they were with a clipboard moving the dirt around and they didn't finish anything. That guy's also $4 million, the same as Hannah Levine.
Irving Cartman.
In regards to the bond, the city put $1 billion bond because they spilled 5 million gallons of water, 5 million, under the basins, and the city owns the basins. So they say, if these crooks are doing this kind of work, let's put a bond so we make sure that they don't screw up. the guy who did the plumbing didn't have a license, and we paid for the water bill, $62,000. It was included in your first special assessment. In regards to the records request, I requested the records, and our fraudulent attorney refused to provide it to us, and we continue to request records, and we haven't been able. So we got a $1.5 million assessment. Then they borrowed $1.5 million from New Wave Loans LLC that we have to pay $430,000 in interest, and now they want $7 million. In my last research that I did with the city, thank God, because I keep a good relationship with everyone.
About 5 seconds to wrap it up.
Okay, they gave me an email from the city to the city planner saying that Mr. Patel has received an email from the architect saying that they're gonna scale back and it's not gonna be a 5-story garage, it's gonna be 53 cars in the parking lot. So, Mr. Patel, did you receive that, yes or no?
Our current plan before the city is for a single lot.
Oh, no, but in the special assessment is 5-story parking garage for 140 cars. So were you lying then or are you lying now?
Roxana?
Posted.
So where is this? The last proposal you proposed before the city.
Where is this?
Go posted.
For 5 stories.
Here is a judgment. If anybody wants
The renderings we've all seen.
$11 million.
Okay,
I'm even trying to hide that.
To represent 25 unit owners who contacted me about these issues. And I think that anytime that
Excuse me. Deja que habla abogada.
anytime that a board passes an assessment, it's normal that there be objection. However, in this particular case, and I think it's important also that everybody understand that the board does the voting. We all don't get to vote here in the condo to say to approve the budget. The problem is that there is no budget. And in for this fiscal year, they have an affirmative obligation, Attorney Patel, to submit their proposed budget and to have an open meeting. There hasn't been a budget for several years. They're just rolling over the budget from 2015 to 2016.
No, we had the meeting in July.
Because there's nothing on the Department of.
We did.
Yes.
No, there isn't.
We're here.
Okay, well, you can say that, but.
Secret, you know what they do? They post it in that little.
Okay, but
You're using up her time, let her finish, you only got 2 minutes, let her talk.
15 seconds of my time is gone now. You can respond after, but what I'm saying is that there wasn't proper notice. We have 2 notices floating around with 2 different times, and I have 4 or 5 people that are saying, I did not receive notice of this meeting. If you choose to pass this, and again, they have the right to pass it, whether you guys like it or not. At the end of the day, what's gonna happen is you have an assessment in a year where unfortunately you don't have a budget proposal on file. If you have it in your pocket, then you might have it in your pocket. It is not on file with the state. So because it's not on file, now what ends up happening is you're trying to pass an $8 million assessment in a year where you've not filed a proposed budget. That's improper, and it's also improper to have a vote and to proceed when not everybody has received notice. You have several people saying you have not gotten notice, and you have 2 notices with 2 different times that are posted. So you have the statutory obligation, and the council said it.
I did not receive anything, Mike.
And she's saying, well, it doesn't matter, you knew or you wouldn't be here. It's not her job to notify everybody. Third of all, the request that came over with requests for the engineering reports, for the bids. Right now, this is inappropriate. This binder going around so everybody can look at it for 2 seconds, and you can look at it later. You should have had it before. If you pass this and you vote on this and it passes, you are well within your rights to do that. What's going to happen is there are already 95 people who you're passing an assessment that's 115% more than what you had the year prior. And what's going to happen is I have received notice from at least 90 people that are saying they want the entire board gone. And so all they have to do, in order to do that, what you're going to have to do is you have to put it in writing and you have to have a meeting, and you need 10% of the unit owners to do that. There are already a majority. The majority is 90. There are 90 people that want the entire board replaced. So you can do it, but you're going to have a problem. And I think that we don't want a problem. The last thing, I think, in my opinion, an association like this wants is litigation. Needless litigation, and start burning money like a taxi meter. I think what we need is transparency. There's communication.
Yes.
That people seem reasonable. It just seems like they don't like this board and they don't trust this board. And I think when you have
Thank you.
this size of an assessment, you've got to give bids, because if not, it gives right, even if you're not doing anything wrong, it gives rise to the presumption like, yeah, we're using that guy because that's the lady's relative or whatever. The board has to be able to say in good faith, no, listen, wait a minute, we're not using them because that's my relative. We got 10 bids. We got recommendations. We asked for referrals. And right now you've got somebody who has a breach of fiduciary duty and some sort of a trust violation related to finances who's going to be working on this project. That doesn't inspire confidence. And I think
Excuse me, it is so irrespectful from the four of you. While our lawyer is talking, Mike, it is very respectful what you're doing, talking what they are talking, Mr. Patel. They didn't teach you in your when you grew up in Sweden or whatever.
Time for you, just because they spoke.
Does anybody else want to give her your time?
Yes.
Who's next on the list?
Guys, there's only 3 more people on the list.
Okay, who's next?
Tanya?
Tanya, we don't want the lawyer to talk?
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt?
I needed the lawyer.
I just have my 15 seconds left. I just want to say with all due respect, I think that you can postpone this. I don't know what the rush is. Wait. Get the information out, have the proper meeting, and do it by the book. And then nobody can say anything. If you do it by the book, it can be done. And if you say, you know what, guys, if you don't like it, that's just too damn bad. That's fine. But to do it improperly, it's just going to create a big mess. And the last thing we need here is a big litigation. And I'm a trial lawyer. That's all I do. I don't think litigation is good here. I think that the money that's going to be paid to the lawyers is best spent getting the thing and the parking. And I get it. I understand what the gentleman is saying. What the attorney is saying is true. He's saying, well, this is taking time because all those things are true. But what is also true is that we didn't follow the proper procedure. And so anything that you pass today is going to have the board essentially removed, and it's as long as we have a majority of people, meaning I think more than 91 people that vote to remove the board, you can remove the entire board.
Exactly.
How many?
87.
87. Well, we have 92. So if you want to continue and you say, you know what, we're doing the best we can, let's do it right. You know, and then and give the information out.
They're gonna sink the building. That's what they want. They're gonna sink the building. That's what they want.
I don't know. I don't know that that's what they want.
$12 million.
Let's
Final judgment. They would have sink the building.
Okay, first of all, I want to know why you don't make a deal for buying that parking lot that is already done, that you can get money to spend and hide it and to deal with the, wait, I don't want the answer now, I only want the question, because of my time going through. Okay, first of all, we'll deal directly with the daughter of Coletta, trying hard, but not only you. We have to create a commission to talk to her. Some of you at the board and
nice.
some of the people here go together to see how we can get that parking lot back. Okay. Okay. What permit where the city rejecting you? I have here, I come from the city. I have here all the permit that you asked. And then already done and paid. But the one that is related to this area, they are together for the parking lot, and then you suspend the meeting that was in red here for the 5th of February, when they're going to approve that parking in the back, and you was the one to call them and told them we are not prepared yet. You email them, and I have here everything, okay? Don't say no, because when I asked him, me and Maria were the only one waiting in that city for that meeting like a stupid, and then when they finished, the first party said, no, this was suspended, and the sign is still here, and when I came to Stephen, I asked, when they suspend that? Oh, we don't know. Oh, no, it was yesterday, it was 2 days ago. And who suspended? No, the city. No, wasn't the city, it was yourself. And then you always say that the city is the one in charge of all the bad things, which is not. The other thing is, how many apartments do you own here? In which one or all of those do you live? And then, for recall we only had to prove that they are a couple. A couple can be in the association board, and they are in marriage, and they are a couple. They can be an association board.
Wanna
Okay.
take the building and get the hell out.
Ben, you have about 5 more seconds to wrap it up.
Okay. Okay, that's already went on. How many owners received the proposal? Not even the half. I don't even receive it. I don't
did
even
not
receive
receive
it.
it.
I asked
No.
Steve, give me a hard copy, but I didn't receive officially by mail or by email. I haven't received it.
We have to tell the
Anyone.
people.
And then all the
saying
people
that
that
they
we
received
talk,
sent it by
we then
certified mail.
oversee, nobody knows
Anybody receive by
what is
certified
all going on. Nobody knows.
We're gonna go to the next one in spring.
No
No, no,
certified
wait a
mail.
minute, wait a minute.
No
I want now the
certified.
answer. And now I need the answer. Hey, I need now the answer.
Yeah.
No, she needs the answer.
She needs to get the answer.
Wait a minute,
Yeah,
I
wait
need-
until she
Mike,
gets the answer.
come to tell me the answer about the dealing with
Yeah.
what you wanted to tell me before.
Okay.
Why we don't have a deal?
Yeah, so my 2 minutes start now.
Wait. Let's him to answer.
People silence, please.
I'm actually gonna use my 2 minutes to ask questions, but I'm gonna start with the petition that we submitted to you, and it's an application for 10%, 10% of the owners have applied for a special meeting to discuss budgets, and I understand Clara tried to give it to Michael and Stephen, and they wouldn't receive it. So, they're also here, I'm asking if you will make this we'll include this in the minutes of this meeting.
For the
Okay,
record.
so now this, those of you who have not read the petition, I strongly urge you, because it contains everything. We have been speaking to absentee landlords, and if you want to know the game here, the game is they have those absentee landlords in their pockets because they don't inform them of anything. They won't give it. If you want to fight with this board, ask them for the email addresses of the absentee landlords. And so we have been slowly, gradually increasing our list of absentee landlords. Everyone that I've spoken to, everyone that I've communicated with said, I didn't know about this. I didn't hear about this. When Clara asked Stephen and Mike, why didn't you send information to the absentee landlord? The response was, well, we sent mail and it came back. Okay, so the first issue is that those absentee landlords have not received notice of an $8 million assessment. We're getting emails from people saying, oh my God, I'm in shock. I can't, I'm gonna lose my apartment. So that's the first issue, and it's all here, okay? The second issue is we're asking for specific engineering reports for the balconies and the number of estimates that came in. The quotes, whether there is an audited, a CPA audited financial statement. Mike, don't use up my time, okay? Don't use up my time, thank you. We need the proposal of the contract. It's a lot of detail that we ask for. We urge you to look at the petition. As our attorney, and we have engaged her as an attorney, we filed an application, 10% of the owners, for a special meeting to discuss budget, and there's a possibility that we can notify any action that they take tonight. There's a possibility, okay? And there's another possibility that we can review the budget, and with 51% of the owners, we can recall this board. So I'm not saying that that's the only alternative. I'm saying that as we get information out to the owners, and the owners understand what's going on, I think that all of those things are in discussion. And I just want one more second. Because
He's been interrupted several times by him. Let him finish.
I'm an attorney. I'm an attorney in New York, and I was an attorney for the state, but it's also a prosecutor for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. There was a saying in New York saying, you're going to go out and canvass for clients, and where are we going to go? And someone will say, well, Gulvento por la Porta Nueva. We're going to go like the wind to new doors. A lot of that $1.5 million, the $1.5 million additional loan, interest only, has gone Gulvento por la Porta Nueva. And so I think that the insanity of this is that we are being asked to give $8 million to the same board that took those earlier assessments and hasn't achieved, I don't know what percentage, 10 to 20%. Thank you very much.
We don't trust you anymore.
Shelley?
Anybody give me
Where is Shelley?
Shelley,
Where is Shelley?
do you want to speak, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Wow.
it's your turn.
Shelly, come here to the front. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening.
Louder, Shelley.
Páralo para que se
So I
vea.
have a few questions. I understand that a binder was passed by, and this binder is explaining the 1.5 million. Is that correct? Yes.
Which one
Is
of the
every?
two?
It's in the back. Is there's one with invoices, one with proposal.
Loan
Is everything
or special
included?
assessment?
1 second, Maria, please. I got 2 minutes.
Ponlo fijo para que lo
1.5
puedas leer,
include
porque si no,
everything
no,
there,
no,
or
no,
are we missing information?
tiempo.
No, you're not missing information.
Is everything in the binder?
Why you need to look at them?
Michael is not sure.
We don't even know.
Everything is in the binder. Okay, so I was able just to, in 5 or 10 minutes that they gave us, because I have asked Steven before, and I haven't had asked Yoni and you guys, information of like what's going on, how the money is being spent. I found that you guys have a spreadsheet where it says billed and paid, painting inside and outside the building. How much we paid? 201,000. I don't see one.
Where's the painting of the building?
Where is the painting? This is the spreadsheet.
You can go outside.
This is the spreadsheet.
You can kind of make my
I
apartment
continue.
forward.
I continue.
He paid already.
Here there's an invoice that is only being paid 71,000 out of the 201,000 that says already paid. So I would like to do, if you guys can please provide us more detail on where the invoices are being paid.
Yep.
I understand you say welcome every time I get there. There
Yeah,
is no
we don't get
answer.
the information. Now you say
So,
welcome at
We don't
the
get any
meeting.
information. Everything is secret. Even the attorney will not give us information.
There is an information here. We have a generator that it says 133,000 billed, 133,000 paid.
No. It's 290.
On the assessment proposal, how much is it? I'm sorry.
There was 193 we paid, right?
Where is it?
193 that we paid.
Where's our generator?
So I would like
Where
to
is it?
understand if we pay 193.
Michael approved for the company to take it for
To change the
maintenance.
tag, not to steal it.
Okay, we should
Right.
file
We
a
give not the
report.
proof
If
to
it
steal
was
it.
stolen, we should file a report with the police, and the police is here to
The
understand
insurance should pay for that.
that
Think?
this
We
was
possibly-
stolen.
Yeah, but,
We have insurance.
all right.
1 second, Michael, because you will be able to respond. On the proposal, it says 293,000, so we blew the numbers if we only pay 193. Any particular reason why we did 100,000 more?
For the electric part.
Okay.
The generator
Do
needs to
we
be
have
installed.
checks and proof of everything? Because
You can't hook it up. You can't hook it up.
Quiet, let her speak.
I would also like to understand why on the balance sheet, which whoever is doing the balance sheet is me, I am a financial analyst, and it's very hard to understand this balance sheet. Who does the balance sheet? Who represents the accounting?
Yes, from ASG.
You do. Okay, sir. I would like to
The side
understand,
of-
on the balance sheet, I would like to
can read.
understand,
I can't hear you if you're all talking.
yes, I would like to understand a few things. First of all, we have here on the assets, we have a AR allowance bad debt receivable as a positive, which should remain on the asset as a negative. That's increasing our asset. 1. Number 2, I would also like to understand why we have loan interest expense, that's expenses and revenue, go on the P&L. It should not be on the balance sheet, and I would like to see that in the P&L, please. And I would also like to understand a special assessment expense. We have 2016 expenses that are still carry over, I believe, from the assessment back in 2015-16, 17-18. And I would like also to ask about the 1.5 million with the balloon payment that is due in 2020, which we are
July
only
1st.
paying interest. Everybody to understand, balloon payment means that you only pay interest, nothing to the principal. And when the money is due, you have to come out of your pocket with 1.5 million immediately. Did you guys share that information with us?
No,
Does
they
anybody know?
Where did the money go?
display
On that
outside of the elevator.
I have emailed back and forth talking to Steve, where I have CC'd you, and I have requested information, and it's so hard, even to the ASG Association. You guys bounce us like a ball. I called the ASG transferred me to Steven, and then Steven said, I will get you the information. It takes time, and I nag and I nag and I nag.
So I would like to also understand, why did we borrow the 1.5, not from a bank, but from a third party, which is considered a shark, at a high interest? What happened there? And who did this loan?
$75,000 commission.
With a
She
$75,000
signed it.
commission?
She signed it and he signed
As the
it.
board, and
Understand?
because no bank ever approved us, and we tried for 1.5 years to get a loan for the parking garage, and no bank approves us. First, because the building is very old. Second, they said because a lot of people own mortgages
Has
and they
nothing to
don't
do
feel
with the
safe.
building being old, because New York
It
has
does.
buildings from 1920.
It
Has
does.
nothing to do with
Have
it.
to-
But we don't have a reserve like these.
We
want
several
proof of the rejection.
Okay, but I would also
letters from
want to
several
know,
banks.
who
We
is,
wanna see them.
from who are we
like to see
borrowing?
them.
What's the name? Is it an entity? Is it a third party? How do we get to this
New
third
Wave
party?
Loans, that's the name of the
New
company.
Wave loans.
Okay, and who recommended this? How do we get to them? Can we get all that information?
We tried several, this was the only one that actually approved
At
us.
what percentage, I'm sorry?
It was 160,000.
The interest was 10.10.
What's the interest rate?
$75,000 to the loan
What's
broker
the interest
to
rate
get
that we
it.
are paying on this loan?
10.10.
The interest rate.
Maria,
goes
one
to
second, please.
25%.
Maria, please.
Maria,
You don't know?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? You're the VP?
Not all the numbers of everything. You can ask me what's the percentage
very important
on the
information.
parking.
Okay,
What is the
that's
cost of
fine.
this? I
Mike,
can't
do
remember.
you remember, or the treasurer, do you remember what's the interest on this 1.5 loan?
I think it's, like I said, I don't have the numbers.
Okay, I do know the numbers. It's like about 10%.
10.10.
So I tell you.
That's what I said before.
Okay, now I tell you, that's not being reflected here. What's your name? I'm sorry, sir. ASG?
My name's Evan.
Evan. Okay, Evan, I don't, this is misleading, like I said. I look at it, and if I go into the website, we don't have a 2016, 17, 2017, 2018 budget available in the website. And if there is one, it says carryover from 2015 to 2016. How are we carrying over a budget for 3 years when there is inflation, when insurance changes, when there's so many things going on in the building? We cannot use the same budget. Why are we doing
On
that?
that note, we're gonna go to the next
When
speaker.
the July budget meeting?
Stephanie,
You
would like
were
to
in the
speak?
July
I was in
budget
the meeting,
Yes,
of
you
course,
were.
but it's the only way that you gave me the paper. It's not on the website. If I request it again, nobody gives it to me.
No, but it's like as if there was never a meeting. You actually were
I
there.
was in the
Okay,
meeting.
at
I'm
least
not
you're-
saying I wasn't. I'm
okay.
saying that the budget is not available in the website, and it's been carried on from 2015 to 2016 till current.
That's not proper.
So that, it doesn't make sense, because everything
No,
is
we
going
approved
on.
a new budget.
Jeff, of
That-
course.
Nobody
Where is it?
received
We
it.
have not
Where
seen
is
it.
No,
what is it?
You have to give it to the people.
yeah, the new budget when they screw up.
Doria, where
You
is
have
the
to
new
give it
budget?
to all of the people.
Anybody
Why
have a
all
copy
the
of the
others
new
have not
budget?
received
But-
the budget?
but it what? But-
She was here in July.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
but
was there.
you're supposed to
Of
communicate. We don't
Okay.
know. You're
Sorry,
supposed to
You guys,
communicate.
we're out of control right now. She had way more than her 2 minutes. We have 2 more people that have signed up to speak. We're gonna go ahead and let them speak, okay? So Stephanie would be next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Chambers. I'm the owner of 811. I haven't lived here for 6 years, but I am back now and I'm totally in shock. And there was one point that I was actually the licensed community association for this amazing property. And we had a little tip, things went badly. I was doing my fiduciary duties, and at that time, Rick, who is a dear friend of mine now, he was way behind in his association fees. So I didn't want to lose my license, and I petitioned for him to be removed from the board. At that point, Michael fired me. I'm over that, I can't hold a grudge. But this is my point. Has anybody gone to the beeper, to Tallahassee, where there's always a bunch of mess, there's always a bunch of theft? Has anybody gone to the beeper? I haven't been here, I'm sorry. I've been in Aventura with a fiance, and that didn't work out. Now I'm back here, happier than ever, and now I feel like, how the hell am I gonna get $14,000 damn by July? except I am beautiful. But I'm old. I'm 70 years old, and at this point, I don't want to lose my property. I was good with paying off.
We don't want to lose our property.
I was good, and I thank you guys. I've been in touch with you. I know you're 501. I don't know your name. I don't remember your name. And your husband and everything and all that sort of thing. But all I want to say is, can't we just all get along? Why do we need a parking lot? Every new structure has their parking lot. We have the tennis court. Why do we need 5-story?
No, we don't need 5 stories. Stephanie, we've been offered actually.
Everybody's gonna lose their unit that lives here that are people like myself if we have to spend that amount of money within a short amount of time.
Stephanie, stop. I have new information from today. So we've been offered to buy the property across the street. So
There was one of the residents actually that proposed it, and they have spoken to the realtor for Nina Coletta. And there was his suggestion, if we're willing to buy the lot for $10 million.
Yeah, but it's negotiable.
But he's saying, that was what he's saying, I don't know if we can get it or not. I can't promise something until we try it. He's saying we can give a down payment and then get a 20 years loan. That's what his suggestion was, and we said, let's propose it to the owner. It is expensive because it's like land to build another building. It's not just to be used as a parking lot. So.
Why you wanna still be on the board if nobody wants you to be on the board? Why you don't tonight? If it wasn't you, if it wasn't you and everybody is in top of you guys, I was the one to say, you know guys,
Can we just let her finish?
I'm resigned.
One more thing.
You know what I mean? That's what you have to
United
do.
States of America, this is Florida, Tallahassee is where the department can handle this. Has anyone gone to the state of Florida to Tallahassee?
We are going to.
Has anybody gone?
I am going.
No.
Well, let's go.
Let's go.
We need Tallahassee. This is huge.
I am going.
We need auditors.
We are getting the media here. Univision, Telemundo, we are getting all this. They got it out, they got to be out.
Isabel.
This is not right.
Isabel.
That's it.
Maybe.
I'm done.
Isabel.
Isabel.
Says Isabel Maria.
Maria.
What's your last name?
Maxwell.
Yes.
Give my time to Maria.
To Maria.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna go quick.
Please, silence.
I like to say that we
Board,
have
please listen to the person speaking.
we have been misled by this board for 7 years. We have been misled by this board for 7 years, whether it's the proxies at the elections, whether it's the project managers that are professional thieves according to this final judgment for $12 million, and that's the father of the management company owner. So if you ask me, is this a legitimate expenses that we need to pay to survive? No, these are people that have no ethics, no morals, they're crooks, and they want to take the building away from us. Okay? They did the same thing to Franco Investments LLC. If you want to communicate with Franco family, I can give you the email, and we can start digging out how these people got on the board, what they are doing, because it's unreasonable that first they passed a $1.5 million special assessment, then they borrowed a $1.5 million loan. I went to the attorney's office, who's hiding all the information. So if we're going to have charging for fraud, I'd like to include the attorney as well. He stood us up December the 8th. Raul and I showed up, we scattered the whole thing. No, sorry, but the PC is broken. And what I wanted to ask is what Shelley was asking, where is a $1.5 million expense it out? They wouldn't give us that information. Other things that I like to say are, I've been sued. I've been here for 22 years. We don't have a nightclub thanks to me. I'm putting a website together. It's called www.bayshore.daily.com, and you can see it in a couple of days. Everything is going to be uploaded, and make sure you're sitting down. The balconies, I like to say that I've been a chairwoman of the elevator committee fighting with these people. The balconies, one balcony
10 seconds left. 10 seconds.
Okay, the balconies are not all the balconies are damaged. They're the ones that are next to the elevators because people that we don't have a maintenance supervisor here. The maintenance guy does all the checking for the Airbnb, so nobody has time to clean the drains. That's where the water was trapped. They get a 7-second video, and all of a sudden, they might fool you, okay? They don't fool me. One other thing that I
At
have to
this
say
time, the lawyers
is
are gonna
the
talk to the
treasurer
board.
said for 11 months
All right,
without paying
we're gonna
the
go from there.
Okay, Maria. Yes, thank you.
Also to talk.
He signed off, he signed off.
You didn't sign yes, you didn't sign that you wanted to speak, so.
I did talk.
Let him talk, he wants, saying he wants to speak.
What is this? This is a dictatorship? What is this? Is this a dictatorship? Or what we have to go in Venezuela? Or what we have to do here? What? Why we allow them to talk and then stop up to talking?
There's no reason to scream, no reason.
No, of course, they have reason to scream a lot.
No reason to scream,
Of
ma'am.
course it is. You are giving them the right that we have.
Okay, I'd just like to, since I'm the probably last one to summarize, it seems like there is a kind of a conflict of interest, misrepresentation, and for me, looking outside at the big picture, it seems like the resident don't trust the board, and the role of the board and the management is actually to
Represent.
help the residents.
Represent.
The board
Represent
need to be
us.
professional, educational. The decision they make, they need first of all to share with you.
Of course.
And once
Yes.
is all transparent to make the decision, it seems like all this, there is a big mess. Second of all, even though it might be legal, I don't like the two board members from the same family because there is a conflict.
It's
of
illegal.
interest.
It's illegal.
I think as a mature, older people, everybody need to take responsibility on their duty. And if the residents are not happy, I don't tell you what to do, but you are mature enough to understand that you are misrepresent the core ownership of this building. So to take responsibility,
Resign.
we are all mature enough to understand what they need to do. One thing, management-wise, seems like also there is a big issue with the management.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
We want a new management.
Fire,
Okay,
a new
so,
management.
I think everything
Fire.
needs to go step by step. I don't say you need to fire the management, but it seems like there is a lot of issue between the relation between the resident to the board to the management. If you're not gonna fix it, it's not going anywhere. So first tip, it doesn't matter how many attorney you hire, management don't need two attorneys here. Why?
Spending our
Why
money.
two attorneys?
Because
To
one has to defend the
to
other.
represent the board. Why?
Attorneys should
So,
be ethical.
You need to be ethical, everybody needs to be responsible.
paying you.
If not, this building, the goals here, it seems like there is a deep interest behind the scene of the management and maybe the board, and we all know what's
And the
going on behind
lawyers, and the
table.
lawyers.
So,
When I hand it
everybody
to
needs to
Michael
take
Levine, I'm giving
responsibility
you carte blanche.
Maria, por favor.
to share information, and definitely now is not the time to make such a big decision. What's going on with all these people who work so hard for their money? What do you think?
I want
Yeah,
to
we
raise
want a
something
board
that is
that
very
protects
short,
us.
guys,
Both-
and I
both
think
of
it's
you-
important
both of you
for,
spoke very
sir,
much.
one thing, because it's very important that they know.
Sir, we don't want to hear you.
Let me tell you something, I'm sorry, what I have to say to them, I am very sorry, but I'm gonna say, I've been in the same situation in another building.
Sir, who?
You are representing and one of the owners speaking.
Hey!
What happened is that the decision that they made today, whether the board gets dissolved or not, that decision may end up being, having to be given by the Tallahassee office. You guys have to go by that decision as that's gonna be made today.
You're
So
disrupting the
today should not be
meeting, ma'am, ma'am.
Okay?
You wanna be
I just wanted
escorted out?
to.
You're supposed to be with us. You're supposed to be with
Yes, I am.
us, not with her.
I put my name on the wrong list. I'd like to have 2 minutes.
We want to
Can I have 2
hear
minutes?
it. We want to hear
All
it.
right. My name is Rick Nielsen. I own 910 and 1017. I have 2 questions. You passed a special assessment for 1.5 million. Why then borrow another 1.5 million? We're paying the special assessment. Why did we have to borrow another 1.5 million? Second, you have $293,000 on the first assessment. $293,000 for the generator on the first assessment. On the $8 million assessment, you also have $300,000. Why two assessments for one generator that's no longer here, and where is the generator? Those are my questions.
Okay. What happened with the generator is
It was stolen.
to make a police report. Okay, so Michelle has handled it.
Oh, really? Oh, please.
So, $515,000. I don't know if you guys saw that we had to have a lien a couple of months ago. So everyone got a lien sent to the units, right?
Yeah, you fought it, you got overturned.
So this is the balance they're trying to get from us. So we already.
You told me the 500,000 was gone.
The 500,000 is gone right now. The lien is gone. The lawsuit, we don't know. So we are trying to.
You don't know either because you look at each other like a.
You haven't answered anything clearly. You have not answered anything clearly.
Okay, it's very clearly.
As never, as always.
$15,000, you received it too, right?
What?
You got the lien, $515,000.
No, I didn't receive it.
He got overturned in 2 months after he didn't cough up any supporting documentation.
So he can still sue us for the contracts.
Why did you tell them to take it away when we need? Why did you tell them to take the generator away?
They have everything.
That's a lie, you didn't know it, Michael.
Why do you want to keep being on the board? What is the reason you to be want to be on the board?
I have a question for Mike regarding what Michael said.
My last one. You have a settlement here of $325,000 with the Colettas.
Yeah.
What are the specifications of that settlement with the Colettas?
We want to see copies of it.
Why the terms of the agreement were in exchange for $325 and getting a licensing agreement to park across the street and acquiring this little triangular parcel that's outside of the grooming area. It's CU14 is the designation for that parcel. In exchange for her dropping her claim for attorney's fees and her demand of $1.2 million that they were claiming in damages, we negotiated that down over the course of 3 days in mediation to $325.
$450.
$450 with $325 due now. So we had our insurance carrier take care of $125. $325 is Bayshore's obligation.
And also they paid for you guys. They paid for the lawyers too.
And we we got the insurance carrier to pay for our involvement in the case too. So that didn't come from Bayshore funds. The $325 is in installments. The first installment is due on July 1st. So the idea for the assessment was to make sure that we have the $325 prioritized, because we don't want to be in breach of the settlement agreement and then have to unwind that clock and then be back in litigation with the Coletta estate.
Why did you make that agreement if you knew we didn't have the money?
Can I ask one more question?
Is
there going to be another lease with that? Is there another lease, or is this just a short term with that parking lot?
It's a licensing agreement that's guaranteed for a period of 9 months. And thereafter, she has a termination clause where she can terminate. They were pretty candid with us in mediation that, look, we're trying to sell this to a developer and build it. We don't need to tie up the property. It was actually a struggle for us to get 9 months guaranteed. We were, it was a terrible lawsuit. A settlement is a compromise. We didn't win. They didn't win. It's a compromise. The best opportunity we had to resolve that litigation that started in 2013 was at mediation in February. And we had to make a very hard decision. The board made a very tough decision to move forward with the settlement. And those were the most favorable terms we got after a period of 3 days. The first installment is due July 1st. We wanted to prioritize the 325 to make sure we weren't going to be in breach of the agreement. So that's why it's parsed out separately in the notice. That's why it's set aside from the repairs to the common owns. We want to make sure that we're going to make that payment. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
And,
I have a
Coletta,
question.
excuse me, Coletta's remedy is very severe if the payment isn't made. Coletta would have the right to have a receiver appointed for the building.
Could you speak louder?
Yes, what I'm gonna ask the board to do is to postpone the vote on the second assessment for a period of 2 weeks so that you folks can look into this.
2 weeks is important.
And-
2 weeks is not enough.
And they don't even have the information.
And to pass the assessment to pay Coletta tonight.
That binder explains the past assessment.
So
We
that's
need
my
a lot of
suggestion.
information
Would
about
you
these
stop
projects.
talking, please? So my suggestion to the board
These guys are-
is that somebody make a motion to pass the 325 tonight, and that you table the assessment for the $7 million.
No, the owners
It's
want
not
to
up
see a
to you
copy
to
of the
say no.
agreement.
It's not up to you to say no. It's up to the board to decide.
But you should
whether they
be
wanna make-
transparent. You're passing an assessment that most of the owners do not know of it.
Please.
In order for I think, I'm not sure if I can, I think we need a report from Coletta to show the.
I just want to.
No, we need to see it. We need transparency. There's always
Is there
confidentiality.
a motion by the board? Will you make the motion,
Yeah.
Michael, to pass a special assessment for $325,000 and to table the $7 million?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Él tiene que llenar algo más aquí abajo.
No, hold on.
We can't take a vote because it wasn't proper notice.
Hold on. Our lawyer is gonna talk here. Hold on, sir. Yes, yeah, but we have a lawyer.
we don't
We have the right to talk
We
before
don't-
they make a decision.
Counselor, we don't have proper notice. They can't take a vote tonight. Having right now, in order for you to exercise your right to remove them from the
No, este es el abogado que iba a representar, no yo, porque eso estaba hecho ya con este nombre. Este me sustituye a mí. Pero ¿qué tiene que poner aquí abajo?
They did not get proper notice.
Nada.
We need proper notice. We need all the owners of this building to know about the settlements, and we need to know the terms, and we need a breakdown of the settlements in numbers.
You have until
You
July.
have your remedy. A motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
This is a
by the
fraud.
board?
This is
Okay,
a fraud.
let them pass it and you move to remove it.
You as attorney, let's go file.
You don't have to.
Understand, I don't mind.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you always say the same thing, and we never see anything.
Let them pass it.
You're going to show what, Michael?
Maria.
You are the president. Show us the bank account.
Maria.
Michael, you as the president, I want you, don't look at your wife, don't look at the VP or the treasurer. I want you to please give us an explanation of, on the 8 million assessment, you guys are coming up with 1.8 million. First time,
This is beyond the
Excuse me,
scope
sir.
of the motion.
Let them pass the motion and you can have them remove
We're going to the
it.
DVP account, we are removing you from the motion.
What I'm saying,
Hey, everybody, yo! Let them take the rope and hang themselves. Go ahead, vote.
what I'm saying is, in order for you to exercise your rights under the bylaws, if they're saying they don't want you there, and it's nothing personal, it's not because you're a bad person, they don't trust you. If I were sitting there and people were talking, I would just say, you know what, the hell with this, I would take my stuff and I would leave.
Why you want?
Now why you have
If you don't want to resign, wait, if you don't want to resign.
Way beyond the scope of the motion.
Sir, let her talk our lawyer.
Okay,
Sir,
let's-
let her talk. Sir, sir, let her talk.
Not to file a petition for recall, filing.
Yeah.
But
The petition
tonight,
for
there is a
recall.
pending motion before the board, and now the question is whether or not the board is gonna vote yes, or whether it's gonna.
How dare you, Mike? How dare you do that to
You
us?
put us in this position by making that
Easiest way to get rid
settlement.
of it.
It was irresponsible because we didn't have the money for it.
I would like to know if we have ever
On
been
the
audited.
Coletta settlement, we're not voting on the $8 million.
It doesn't
You
matter.
shouldn't be voting on
It doesn't
anything.
matter. Most of the owners
You
don't
shouldn't be
even
voting
know
on
about
anything.
this assessment.
Do you know the damages if we default on Coletta's settlement, and who is going to pay that?
I assume
Well,
you'll
you
be
shouldn't
personally
have made
liable
a
for it.
deal if we didn't have the money. That shows how
You know that by
irresponsible you
law.
are.
Of course you can. For fraud, you sure can.
Fraud,
For fraud, you're personally liable. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
We want you out of the board.
And the agreement is,
Let them pass it, and then we move to read.
the agreement was to purchase CU14 for $325,000. Without CU14, we could never build a parking lot. So my question
There are other options.
is,
There
where
are
is the
other
other
options.
option? Please tell
And
me
you
that.
didn't have to make a settlement that quick without informing all the owners.
Well, the option,
You should have informed all the owners.
the option is to put it
You
up
have
for a
the
vote
one
after
more
properly
You have the
noticing the unit owner.
responsibility to
Give
inform
me one
the
more
owners.
option.
And
To
you don't
vote
inform
after
the
you
owners.
properly notice the
Where
unit
are you
owner.
guys going to park? This is my question to all of you.
We haven't had parking in 10 years.
Go back to 360,
Gloria, in
get the
10
hell
years.
out.
And you're not smart
You don't
enough to
live
handle
here.
that.
Make us a clone.
We'll find one. When you're not at the board.
Vamos a ver si se van para acá.
We're not getting anywhere by yelling at each other.
Yeah, but they're about to
Guys,
impose.
wait.
I put my name, I was not for. And
We have one more, excuse me, Judy.
No, we have so many because we.
Guys, there's a motion on the table, let them make their decision, and then we can move forward from there.
Excuse me. What's if her name was on the list? Excuse me,
Want to
excuse
postpone
me.
the two assessments? It's up to you. Are you taking the liability if we don't pay the
No.
$25,000?
No.
Are
You
you
should
taking
have
the risk or
not,
not?
you should have not done that
settlement.
settlement. That was irresponsible.
We had no
Okay,
choice.
excuse
Now,
me.
you
Why
want to
you
take
didn't have no
responsibility?
choice? Because of triangle of land, you didn't have
She's
choice.
gonna talk, she's gonna talk.
I put my name here, and I would like to.
Yeah.
She's been there for 20 years, she deserves to
Excuse
speak.
me, excuse me. Alexandra Espiella, and from the Pet Grooming. I own 3 commercial units here, in which I am very concerned regarding the situation, because parking is a big issue. I live from my grooming. I don't have another source of income, so for me this is very important. Now, my invitation to all of you, and including myself, is to find solutions. Now, whatever situation it is, okay, we need to come out with a solution, because the building doesn't have no money.
Why?
Excuse me.
Where's the money?
Spend it. Could you please finish?
We don't know where the money
Finish.
It's her turn.
with these people?
Building doesn't have no money. We've been in this situation for quite a while, including issues with the city, because I'm in the city, okay? Speaking with the mayor, speaking with a lot of people there, and unfortunately there is a lot of issues with the city, because also the city is involved into a lot of fraud issues. So right now, we are not in the best interest here, okay? Not from the city, not from here. I don't know what is going to happen. I am kind of worried for the situation, but let me tell you something. It's not about our ego. It is about our best interest, because there is all our investment in this building, okay? So let's go ahead and do this in our best interest for everybody, including investigations, including information, whatever is required. But let's move forward, and I'm pretty sure that we need an assessment in order to pay what we need to pay, because the money is not under that office.
Oh, listen,
Hold on one second.
do you live here? Do you live here? Do you live here? Do you live in this building?
Can I continue?
Because
I
it's
do
easy
not-
for you.
Excuse me, sir.
We
I
could
do
lose
not
our property. What you say, what is the best
Can
interest?
you
This is our
imagine,
interest.
sir,
Three
excuse me.
commercial
Listen,
units.
excuse me. I
Excuse
do
me.
not live here.
You don't
but-
live here, right?
No, but
You're
listen,
getting money from the grooming,
Can
right?
you-
You
can-
lease, yeah. You're getting money from the grooming, from the pet shop, right? Yeah, exactly. So you don't live here.
I do not live here, but I live from my
Because
building,
you have
from
clients that
my
need
unit.
parking, yeah, okay.
I money for her
Okay,
rent.
so you need parking because
I
your
do not
clients.
rent, sir. I
Yeah,
own.
okay.
I own.
Yeah.
I own my units, okay?
Okay.
And I pay administration,
Okay.
and I pay taxes
But to
here.
come here-
And if we have any issues, I social like this.
Yeah, but my best interest, I don't want to lose my property. I don't want to pay $1 million.
Sir,
But what you are saying is
I
the
need,
opposite.
listen, we need,
You know?
The board is not paying attention to us.
Yeah, this is going nowhere fast.
That's your livelihood. Pay rent.
See, everybody, the board is not paying attention and nobody's saying anything.
All I think is that we might need an assessment. I don't know, with the state board or no board.
We need transparency. We need transparency with the $3 million that we just spent. We need transparency first. Then we need a lot of information about everything. A lot.
How are we going to get
Wait
the
until everybody knows what's going on here.
We need information. We need information. We need information. We are going to use our process. I mean,
Order. I'm here to call the question. All in favor of the pending motion, say aye.
To do what?
The pending motion is to pass the 325 and postpone the 7 million. All in favor, say aye.
No, this is
we
fraud.
don't need details. We
all
want to
opposed.
understand. We need information.
All opposed, say no.
In proper
All,
notice.
in proper notice. All the
Proper
owners
notice.
should know.
No, you don't.
I don't represent you.
Hey, who's paying you?
Who's paying you?
You want to get out. You want to get out.
Fuck out of here.
You want to get out.
This is done. We are not 5-year-olds. We are civilized. Enough. We are civilized adults here. We are having a meeting. We are not having a free-for-all. So sit down, and if you want to talk, you raise your hand, or I will escort you out of the building.
He's shutting somebody out.
Yes, listen, I cannot control the fact he was not taught manners. But you guys should not do that.
But tell
Sit down.
them to. Tell them
Sit
to.
down,
Tell
and
them
we will all
to.
speak
Tell them to
What would
sit
you do
down.
if you were superior?
Okay? No, just us. Everybody.
Everybody but I need you guys to sit down.
Everybody.
All speak. You guys as well, please sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down. And we're gonna do this one at a time. Who would like to speak? Calmly.
I like to speak.
Hold on, one second, hold on.
Let him speak.
The motion is defeated. The special assessments are not passed.
Okay, so that was a no.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I have a question.
No.
All in
would like
favor
to
of
speak.
adjournment?
Yes.
All in favor.
All opposed?
Yeah. She wanna talk.
No,
She
no.
wanted to talk. She wanted to talk.
The meeting is over, you can speak with us.
The meeting is
Ahora sí,
over.
pues.
Now
It's
you're
my
going to
turn.
talk.
Shelley.
Excuse me. This guy is so rude. He's so rude, this guy.
Mira que ahí, nos salvamos por ahí por lo menos.
Guys, listen,
Nos
this is, by
salvamos
the
por ahí
way,
por lo
this
menos.
is a condo association meeting. These guys are elected by you. They are paid for by you.
No,
And if
para
you are
all.
not
They're elected by
actually
Airbnb.
controlling
I
control this.
want to
So
speak.
coming here and yelling and screaming is not getting anything done.
Okay, so now it's my turn. Please raise your hand who wants this gentleman not to be here and want to fire this gentleman. Raise your hand.
Yes. Yes.
We want you.
Yes. Yes. Out.
Fuck out.
We fire you. We fire you.
We're firing you. We don't want you here.
What gentleman talking about? ¿De qué hombre están hablando? ¿De quién están hablando? Del abogado, del viejo.
You guys can vote in this board and you dumbasses. Number one, abort.
Hey guys, the meeting has been adjourned and the assessment has been postponed. Do you have another meeting planned?